you doing? So, headed up to Kelso, Washington. I've got one of my best friend's son. He's been working on his car for about a month, getting it ready to paint. So, headed up to pull the trigger. So, it's ready. And I've been video chatting with him, watching the progress. And usually ready means a couple more hours that I'll have to put in, but hopefully not too long, so I can get this thing sprayed and get home. It's supposed to get hot today, so I'd like to avoid sweating through my paint suit. And I'm driving my daughter's 2009 Camry with 278,000 miles on it today because I jumped in it to go to the store yesterday and got down to the stop sign, pushed the brakes, and it went. So I brought it back up to the house, looked in, and it was metal on metal. So thankfully I had brakes ready for it. So that was what I got to do last night, was an emergency brake job. So I figured throwing about an 80-mile round trip on it just to make sure everything is good today would be good before I turn her loose in it next time she needs to drive it. So that's what we're doing today. So we got to work with when we get there and make this thing blue. There's an exploded WRX. All right. Pretty ready. I don't even have to mask it. Sweet. Let's paint it. So we got to wipe this thing down, starting with solvent, and we'll move to waterborne after that. It'll help keep the static down and stuff. So first rag is saturated with the solvent-borne wax and grease. And you bring everything to the surface and then wipe it off. So the solvent-borne wax and grease takes off all the inorganic compounds like tar and wax, and then the waterborne wax and grease takes off all the organics like bird droppings, dirt, fingerprints, that sort of thing. I love this paint. This is an Aaaaand 3.5 Satin Plus, and it is a coat cross coat technology. So basically you're putting on one coat and then another coat immediately with a metallic or something, or if you really needed a consistent film build, you'd go one way and then the other. But on this thing, both directions, I think I did a pretty good job of keeping it pretty consistent. It's super durable, super solvent resistant. You get a nice even satin, flat, semi-gloss or gloss coating with it. It's pretty awesome. Also, you can go over a 220 grit scratch and it hides a lot of sins. This stuff is thick and fills in all kinds of oopses. I started shooting this with my DeVilbiss Techna, and man, did it start pulsing and giving me a bunch of trouble. I haven't sprayed with it in quite a while. I think the fluid tip was loose, is probably all it was. So I ended up just giving up, going and grabbing my tried and true Seta RP, which works great with the Aaaaand, and finished this out. So you may have noticed this awesome makeshift booth that they set up for me. You know, even though we're spraying on a gravel floor, this thing turned out crazy clean. There was like no overspray while I was spraying. It was nuts. And it's just two box fans down on the end behind the right rear tire, and then an intake set up about 15 feet up about where the camera is. And I couldn't believe how well this moved air. This moved air better than a lot of the booths that I've sprayed in. Pretty impressive. Nice work, Peabody's. So even though this is going to be a satin job and it's not as crucial as a gloss job to keep a wet edge as you're going, I still tried to maintain a wet edge as I moved around. It's just going to make the satin gloss more consistent. The surface is going to be smoother, and it's just going to look a heck of a lot better than if I didn't. That's why I'm jumping all over the place. So after properly prepping this raw plastic bumper, we hit it with a Speed Hacker 3304 adhesion promoter. That's what my buddy Peabody's spraying on there. And that's one of the best adhesion promoters that I've ever used. Usually you'd seal it, but in this case, since we're using a heavy duty industrial paint, I know I can go right over it and I'm going to get good adhesion. When you get into all these little parts, I think I used just as much paint trying to spray all this stuff as I did just painting the whole car. All the overspray of just trying to get in every nook and cranny and get a nice consistent coating. So all said and done, I think we used just under 3 quarts of paint, got about 5 mils on everything. We've got good coverage, good protection, and I think we were around $300 all in for the paint and supplies and adhesion promoter. This stuff is fantastic. And after about 20 minutes, it's already starting to go satin. It'll dilute a little bit more, but really happy with how consistent all of the gloss level is. It's awesome. And the satin's going to hide, quite a few things that we just didn't care to take out. So it's going to be pretty nice. Well, that was fun. Other than a quick detour to go get some catalyst since somebody left it back at their own shop. Went great. They had it pretty much ready and masked up, and can't complain. That was awesome. That was a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed.